Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video I will share with you how to cut and sew a Princess Dart Bustier with Queen Anne neckline. It's going to be easy to follow, beginners friendly tutorial. If you're interested in all of this, please subscribe and let's get started. This is the starting line, so I'll place my tape on the starting line, which is also my shoulder line. So I'll come down from that shoulder line and mark 11 inches for my bust line, 14 inches for under bust, 16 inches for waist, and 26 inches for full length. After that, I'll draw a straight line on each of these measurements. So I'll make sure my lines are straight now so that I'll be able to achieve a perfect pattern once I'm done. The next thing I'll do now is to take my dart. In order to achieve that, I'll use my bust span measurement divided by 2. So my bust span measurement is 8 divided by 2 will give me 4. This is the bust line, the under bust line, the waist, and also the full length. So I'll come to the full length now. I also take the bust span measurement of 4 inches. Then I'll connect this measurement on each of this line with a straight line. Once I'm done with that, I'll come to the under bust and mark 1.5 inch on this side front and 0.5 inch on the center front. I'll do the same thing at the waist and also at the full length. Once I'm done with that, I'll connect from that under bust down to the full length. I'll do that on the side front and also the center front. After that, now I'll come down by 0.5 inch from the bust line. I'll connect from that 0.5 inch down to the under bust using a straight ruler at the center front. Then I'll use a French curve to connect from that 0.5 inch down to the 1.5 inch at the side front. So I'll come to this shoulder line now and impute my shoulder measurement divided by 2. At that shoulder line, I'll take a neck width of 4 inches. Then I'll come to my shoulder measurement and take 1 inch for shoulder slant. So I'll connect from my neck width down to that shoulder slant. So I'll place my tape now on the shoulder slant and mark my armhole depth. Now I'll place my tape across this way to mark the 8 inches to be sure that I'm marking on a straight line. So under this 8 inches now, I'll draw a straight line across. This straight line will serve as my chest line. The next thing I'll do, I'll place my tape on this armhole line and look for the midpoint. I'll mark the midpoint. Then at that midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5 inch. Then I'll come to the chest line and impute my bust measurement divided by 4. My bust measurement divided by 4 is 8.75. So I'm going to connect from the shoulder slant down to the 0.5, from the 0.5 to the chest line, creating my round armhole. I'll come to this round armhole now and look for the midpoint. I'll place my tape this way. Then I'll look for the roundness, which I got about 9 inches. Then the midpoint will be 4.5 inches. So I'll connect this 4.5 inches now, this new midpoint, down to my bust line. Next thing I'll do now, I'll come to this armhole and come up by 0.75 and come down by 0.75. Then I'll connect from this 0.75 on each side of the line and I'll blend it into this dart line this way. I hope you're enjoying this tutorial so far. Please, if you are, don't forget to subscribe. And the next thing I'll do now, place my tape this way on this dart and I got 1.5 inches. So I'll extend the 1.5 inch on this last line now. I'll also replace the 1.5 inch I took at that armhole so that my armhole will not be short. Then I'll connect from this line 1.5 inch I extend down to this 1.5 inch at the armhole. So now I'll come to the shoulder line and place my tape and come down by 8 inches for my neck depth. Now I'm drafting a Queen Anne neckline because I'm granting a request from my viewers. So from that 8 inches, I'll come out 3 inches, which will be 5 inches. That 5 inches mark, I'll go in by 4.5 inches. Or I'll come from the armhole and go in by 2 inches. Now, if you're on the big side, you can go in by 2.5. But if you're on the medium side like me, you can come in by 2 inches. Now the next thing I'll do now is to connect my measurement. So I'm going to connect from my neck width down to this measurement. Then from here I'm going to connect down to my 8 inches neck depth. As you can see, my neckline is looking fine. The next thing I'll do now is to impute my round bodice measurement. If you remember, I already impute my bust measurement on my chest line. I also added 2 inches for sewing allowance at that chest line. So I'll come to the under bust and impute my under bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'll replace my dart allowance that I took of 2 inches. Then I'll also add 2 inches sewing allowance. I also come to the waistline and impute the waistline measurement divided by 4. Then I'll replace this dart allowance and also add 2 inches for sewing allowance. I'll also come to the waistline and impute the waistline measurement, replace the dart allowance and also add 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I will connect all the measurements. I'll connect from the bust to the under bust, from the under bust to the waist, from the waist to the full blouse length. After that, I'll come to this hemline now and come up by 1 inch and connect it into the blouse this way, creating a nice curve for my hemline. So the next thing I'll do now is to cut it out, then we'll draft the back bodies. If you've watched this point, thank you very much. Please don't forget to drop a heart for me on the comment section. Let me know you've watched to this point. Thank you very much. So I'm going to cut it out now for you to see what it looks like. Please pay attention to how I cut it because the cutting part is as important as the drafting part. And this is what my full blouse Princess Dart Bustier looks like. So the next thing I'll do now is to cut the back bodies. I've drawn a straight line across to mark as the starting line, and I'm also going out by 2 inches for my zipper allowance. After that, I'll come to the shoulder and impute my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I'll also come down and mark my shoulder slope, and I also impute my neck width of 4 inches, the same as the front. I'll come to the shoulder slant and impute my armhole, which is my shoulder divided by 2. Then other 8 inches I'll also mark across to confirm that that's my 8 inches. Then I'll connect from my shoulder slant down to that armhole. Then I'll draw a straight line underneath that 8 inches. This straight line will serve as the chest line. Then on this chest line, I'll impute the bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'll look for the midpoint of my armhole depth. I'll mark it and connect from that midpoint to this chest line measurement. The next thing I'll do, I'll place my tape on the shoulder line and I'll come down by 11 inches for the bust line, 14 for under bust and 16 for waist, and I'll also impute the full blouse length. After that, I'll draw a straight line across each of these measurements. So this is my chest line, this is my bust line, the under bust and also the waist. Sorry, I didn't know the camera was not covering the full pattern, but with time we see everything. So the next thing I'll do now is to impute my dart. I'll measure 4 inches from the zipper allowance, then I'll mark it on all the lines. After I mark, I'll connect it down to the full blouse length. Then I'll take 0.5 inch on each of the lines. I'll extend the line to the chest line, then I'll come to this chest line now and come down by 0.5 inch. Then I'll connect from the waist up to that 0.5 inch, then from the waist also down to the full blouse length. After that, I'll come to the shoulder and come down by 2 inches for my neck depth for the back bodies. Then I'll connect from the neck width down to the neck depth. As you can see, I'm almost done with the back bodies. So if you remember, I've already imputed my bust measurement on the chest line, so I'll add my sewing allowance of 2 inches. Then on the under bust, I'll impute my under bust measurement and impute my sewing allowance and replace my dart that I took off 1 inch. Also come to the waistline and impute the waistline measurement and replace the dart allowance of 1 inch and also add 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I'll go to the full blouse length and do the same thing. After that, now I'll connect all the measurements. I'll connect from the chest line to the under bust, from the under bust to the waist, then from the waist to the full blouse length. Notice my pattern paper was not enough there, so I had to attach extra pattern so that I'll have my measurement. So the next thing I'll do now, I'll come to this full blouse length and come up by 1 inch. Then I'll connect from that 1 inch and blend it right into my blouse. This is in order for me to have that nice curve. The next thing I'll do now is to eliminate a zipper bulge. In order to do that, at the waistline, I'll come in from this side by 0.5 inch, and from the full blouse length I'll connect all the way to that 0.5 inch. Then from that 0.5 inch now connect it up to the full bodies. I hope you understand everything we've done on this back body so far. So I'm done with the drafting of the back body. So this part I mark now, I'm going to cut it out also. So I'll go ahead now and cut it out so that you see what it looks like. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share. So now that we are done with the drafting part, the next thing I'll do now is to transfer the pattern to my fabric. Now I'm leaving 0.5 inch around the pattern and also at the shoulder. Then I'll cut it out. So I was tempted to just cut this out without showing you on camera, but I decided to do it so that you see exactly what I'm saying. Now, if you're finding difficult to put 0.5 inch around, you can use your tape to measure the 0.5 inch first around the pattern before you start cutting. In that way you find it very easy. Now I'm done with the center front. I'll go ahead now and cut the side front. So I'll cut 0.5 inch around the center front also, but I won't add 0.5 inch at the side because if you remember, I already added my sewing allowance while drafting my pattern. If not subscribed yet, please subscribe and drop a heart for me in the comment section so that I know you've watched to this point. Now this is what the pattern looks like after I've transferred to the fabric, and I've also traced out the lining. As you can see, this is the lining for the center front also. I had to attach hairstay to the fabric and also paper gum to the lining. This is in order for it to have a little bit of weight. So now the next thing I'll do now is to pad my bustier. In order to do that, I'm going to use this pattern now. I'll cut from this chest line and this on the bust line. I use this to cut the wadding, or should I say the pad, because it's easier this way. For the side front too, I'm going to connect from the chest line and create a cup that I want for the bustier at the side. This way you can make yours bigger if you want. So this is what I'm going to use for my pad. I'm going to cut this wadding now on fold, as you can see. Then at this side here, I'm going to leave 0.5 inch away from the pattern while I'm cutting it. If you remember, we added 0.5 inch for sewing allowance at the pattern on the fabric, so I'm doing the same thing on the wadding, and this is what it looks like. I'll do the same thing for the side front also. And if you've not subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload new videos. You can also type Princess Dart Bustier for me on the comment section. So now I'm going to place this on this from this under bust. If you notice, I notched the under bust at the center front so that I won't place it at the wrong side. And you can see the under bust at the side front, it's obvious. So I'm just going to place it this way and give it a nice press. When ironing, this is going to take a little bit of time, so you just take your time and do it. So after that, now the next thing, I'm going to stitch it together. So I'm going to use pin to show you how to go about it. Pin it together from the down this way. I will place the center front and the side front right side facing right side, as you can see. Then I'll pin it from the down all the way to the underbust, from the underbust to the armhole. At this point, I'm taking my time to do this because this is one of the most important parts of the Princess Dart Bustier. The way I join it is going to determine the final outcome. So I'm just going to stitch it down 0.5 inch all around. Yes, my bustier is ready. As you can see, the inside is looking fine and the outside is at attention. If you've not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe because we are going to be doing a lot of sewing tutorials. So the next thing I'll do now is to notch the under bust. When you're trying to notch your under bust, please be careful. As you can see, I'm using a small scissors so that I don't pierce through the actual fabric. So I'm just going to open it up this way and iron. So after I notch the fabric, the next thing I'll do now is to open up this sewing allowance that I have here, and I'll use my tailor's ham. If you want to learn how to make a tailor's ham, I'll drop the link for you. It's an easy to follow beginners friendly tutorial. So I'm going to open it up now on the tailor's ham and press it flat. This one will enable my bustier to come out very well, and also I will not be top stitching the bustier, so this will really go a long way. So as you can see, I'll sprinkle a little bit of water on it and open it up and give it a nice press. You can take your time and do this, no rush. Just take your time and do this so that you achieve a neat work. This is my hairstay. I'll place this hairstay on this under bust here. I'll press it flat so that my under bust will be flat. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for this side also. I'll cut a little bit of hairstay and I'll press it flat. On this dart line, I'll cut hairstay that is like this shape. Then I'll just place it on this dart line. I'll place it and iron it. I'm doing all of this because I want my bustier to come out very nice. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. I'll cut a hairstay of about the same length, then I'll place it and press it down. And after I finish, I'll turn the bustier this way also and press it. I hope you're enjoying the tutorial so far. If you're enjoying, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And after enough ironing and pressing, this is what my bustier looks like. I've also gone ahead to join my lining, and I've press the lining also. So I'm going to place the lining now on the fabric, right side facing right side. When I'm joining, I'm going to pay attention to the neckline. If you remember, I'm doing a Queen Anne neckline, so I'm going to place the tape and stitch it by 0.5 inch, but I'm going to use my pin first of all to do this before I go to the sewing machine. So I'm going to pin it down to make sure that the lining and the fabric align. Then after pinning down, I'm going to stitch by 0.5 inch. While I'm pinning, I'll pay attention to the sharp edges. If you remember how when we were drafting, those sharp edges at the neckline, it needs to show. So I'm going to pin it down. Once I am done pinning, I'll stitch all around by 0.5 inch. And this is what it looks like after stitching. So I'll go ahead now and give this a notch at that sharp edges that I have on the neckline. Once I am done, I'll notch the neckline and also top stitch. If you want to learn how to top stitch a neckline, I'll drop the link for you. After I top stitch the neckline, I'll also close up the lining and the fabric and top stitch. Once I'm done with that, I'll also close up the sides. Now after closing it up, this is what it looks like. This is the inside and the outside, and as you can see, my neckline is also out. So I've transferred the back bodice pattern to the fabric and also the lining. So this is me marking the wrong sides of the fabric. So I'm going to join the fabric and the lining together now, but before I do that, I'll take out the dart allowance that I took. If you remember, I notched the allowance. I'm going to stop 0.5 inch below the chest line, so I'll do the same thing for the lining. As you can see, I've joined the lining to the fabric, and as you can see, the inside is closed. So I'll go ahead now and stitch the two pieces together. I'll join the two sides of the back bodies together, following the zipper. You can see I'm using my tape to do it, so just in case you want to do it, I'll just mark it and stitch it down. So I'm done with the back bodies. The next thing I'll do now is to join the shoulder. In order to join the shoulder, I'll place the front and the back this way, then I'll pick the one of the fabric and join it to the other side and stitch it down by 0.5 inch. By the time I'm done, this is what it will look like. And I'll do the same thing for the other side, and I've gone ahead to join the sides. As you can see, I pressed open the zipper allowance, and this is what the front look like. The side, remember I left 2 inches sewing allowance while I was drafting the pattern. Now I use 0.5 inch to close the lining, so I'll take out 1.5 inch all around the side. So the next thing I'll do now is to attach the zipper. If you want to learn how to attach the zipper, I'll drop a link for you on the description box. I'll also go ahead and attach my sleeve. My next tutorial, I'll share with you how I cut and sew the sleeve. So don't forget to subscribe, and if you've enjoyed this tutorial so far, please don't forget to click the like button, share, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. See you in my next video.